Hello, hello. No, I was running a little late this morning, just a tad, but we're here now. Honestly, I was here. There was a setting on my camera I was fiddling with. It has been so temperamental lately. Like even my autofocus doesn't even want to focus anymore. But we are here, and hopefully today's will be a bit better than yesterday's. With all of our hiccups, I'll try not to unplug the camera today, so that would be good. Anyway, good morning, Philip. Bring some for us all. Here you go. Put it. There you go. Have some. Good morning, Ariane. Totally forgot. Monday was a day stream. Yeah, no worries. We're kind of switching back into things, so it's taken a bit of an adjustment. We're going for 4 streams today. Well, I guess if we want to beat Monday's record of 3, ugh, gosh, if I can just try and keep it together, that would be amazing. Well, and the second time really wasn't my fault. Like, YouTube glitched for some reason. I don't know why it wasn't showing chat. And here's the interesting thing, is on the playback for the video, good morning, Tyler. Good morning, Kirsten. Welcome, welcome. The playback for the chat on the video isn't working either, since even though I have it marked. So that whole technical side of it was just, it was a mess. But got my coffee this morning, and yeah. So why don't we start slow, and why don't we work on one of these other flowers like we did here, since we already have it done, and that way it'll give everybody a chance to come in. And then the next one that we move on to that's slightly different is we will move on to one of the butterflies, probably. Just thinking if I want to color anything a little bit different, which I might with these kind of pointed petals here. So yeah, let's go ahead. I'm gonna bring this down just a tad here and get a little bit closer. Get this nice and in focus. There we go, that's pretty good. Okay. See, my instinct is to hit my shutter button to focus it, but I just did that. So, yeah. Let's turn this brightness up just a tad, though. There we go. That's a bit better. Such a fine line between in focus and not in focus, you know? Okay, I'll stop fiddling with that. All right, so Monday we used Dahlia Purple, and we're using Prismacolors. Dahlia Purple, Pink, and then Deco Peach and White. Okay, so those were the 4 that we used. Let's see if we can turn that around. Ah, runaway pencils. There we go. There we go. 4 that we used for the flowers there. All right. So how's everybody's Wednesday? It is Wednesday, right? Yeah, it's Wednesday. I swear all the days run together these days. All right. So we'll start with Dahlia Purple. Can everyone, well, I guess we're in between songs here. Can everyone hear the music okay, or is it too low? I had turned it up a little bit last time, but it got to be a little overwhelming, so I don't want it to be too loud. go. All good here, Tyler. All right. Make sure that's still. There we go. That's better. All right. And then we're going to grab pink, which is PC 929. You know what? Real quick, chat, bear with me. I am going to post on Instagram here that we are live. I realized I forgot to do that. Give me 1 second. 1 second. Hi, Joanna. Welcome. Home with this nasty virus my grandkids shared with me. I have pink eye, laryngitis, and an ear infection. Oh, man, Kirsten. I feel like I'm a kid again. Oh, that's rough. Sometimes those little germs, like, they are just, oof, yeah, they are rough. We went through a whole year with the kids where we were just getting sick all the time. All the time. And I was just like, what? Okay, hang on 1 second, chat. I'm just posting on Instagram real quick. I forgot to do that this morning. Okay. Hang on. Hang on. 1 second. Almost done. Almost done. Almost done. Almost done. How many times can I say almost done? Hang tight. Hang tight. Almost there. It takes a minute just to post something on the stories, you know? Okay. All right. We're good now. Okay, let's see. Hi, Graziella, welcome. They both started school this year, so they have new bugs to share. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the year that both of the kids were in school was, oh man, that was gnarly. The amount of time that we spent sick, I was just like, are you kidding me? I think that year I got the flu 3 times. Now, one of those was the stomach flu, but oh man. All kinds of fun. I mean, our oldest had been in school already, but then you add the second child in school, and it's just like, ugh. Get some coffee here. Go. Maybe it's just because I'm manually focusing it today, but I'm so particular about how it looks. I want to make sure it's in focus. Yes, I'm a nurse and exposed to a lot, but not kitty bugs. Oh, yeah. See, that's the thing. That's one of the reasons I always thought I could never, like, be a doctor. And, like, I worked at a retirement home as a med aide for a while, but that's different. You're just managing medication there. But to be at a hospital where you're exposed, like, I suppose you eventually build up an immunity, but I would have a really hard time working as a nurse just because I'd probably just get sick all the time. Deco Peach. I don't know. I don't even want to say that it's starting to get better just because I'm afraid that I'll jinx myself. But they are getting older and they've been in school a little bit longer, so it's not as awful, but still. It always is just terrible when they get sick too, because then it's just like, oh, I'm so sorry, honey. All right, now white. And we're just gonna sort of blend that all together. And then we're going to go over this a second time. I know it kind of looks a mess right now, but yeah, I would think so with all that you're exposed to. I mean, you'd have to, I would think. All right. Now we're going to grab the Dahlia Purple again. Thanks, Kirsten. Yeah, I love Dahlia Purple. It's probably one of my favorite colors in the whole Prismacolor set. Dahlia Purple and Cream, too, is one of my favorite color combinations. Although, oddly enough, I did not choose to use Cream this time. Good morning, Kim. Good morning, good morning. Welcome. All right, now we're grabbing pink, 929. My most replaced pencil? Yeah, I hear you on that one. My most replaced pencil is actually probably my white. I go through my white quite a bit. All right, Deco Peach. Same thing with the like Luminance white too. Those are probably my two favorite like white pencils for blending. I mean, the Luminance pencil is just wonderful, but it's not very cost effective to replace all the time, which is where the Prismacolor one comes in. Okay. All right, now we're going to take just this regular drawing pencil here. And we're going to run it along here. We're sort of writing on it, but what we're also doing is we're kind of scraping off some of that white that went over these lines. Except when I go out of the line. Because yippee! There we go. Yellow green, yeah, I love the Arteza pencils, but still think Prismas are my favorite. I wouldn't say that Prismas are my favorite anymore. They're definitely not even my go-to. Probably if I were to rank... Well, I guess I have different categories. So if you were to choose my favorite small set pencils, it would probably be the Staedtler Ergosoft. Just because it's got like the perfect selection, it's small, it's kind of like whenever I go out and do anything pencil. And sometimes I just like having simpler choices. Then next on the list is probably the Artezas, because they're not... I use the Luminance, I buy them individually at Blick when they have sale. Yeah, right there with you. Well, somebody, my husband had gifted me the full set quite a few years ago, pretty early on when I started coloring. And so I use them very sparingly. And truth be told, I was going to use them for this page, but then I realized they're completely disorganized right now, and I never would have been able to find what I needed in a timely manner for the stream. But I like Arteza because they're not as soft and breakable as the Prismacolors are, but they're not as expensive as the Faber-Castells, because I feel like they're kind of halfway in between Faber-Castell and Prismacolor. So they're a good alternative if Faber-Castell is not in your budget. Let's see, dark green. Well, and I love the soft pastel looks that I get with Prismacolors too. And sometimes it's almost like the page goes quicker just because I'm not having to think about it as much, you know? We're using dark green here, by the way. Because there's fewer selections, it's just easier. Because I'm so familiar with what color combinations go together, I don't have to think too much about it. All right, let's see. I believe we have grass green. No, what is this? I am holding Prussian green. That is not the right one. We want grass green. It doesn't help when I go out of the lines, which you couldn't even see that, so haha! There we go. Let's zoom out just a bit here so you can see what I'm working on. There we go. All right, now we're gonna grab true green. Okay. Yes, that is also unfortunate. I wish they were open stock. I was going to get Faber-Castell, but opted for the Arteza 120 set. I'm still learning them, though. I think I need to go lighter, a lot of buildup. Yes, most definitely, Kirsten. They do not blend anywhere similarly to, although they are a wax-based pencil, they don't blend like Prismacolors do. You definitely have to do light layers and build up. Ergosofts are a great way to practice that, just because they use the same kind of principle. Okay, let's use our white. Actually, I'm going to sharpen the white real quick. Now we're going to grab our artichoke. So we added a little bit of that in there. Okay. And then chestnut. Hi Wong, welcome. Okay. All right, now let's see. What green did we use over here? I'm just watching the Arteza 120 watercolor set. Nice, Kim. Very nice. That's a fun purchase. I mean, they're all fun purchases, but yes, very, very nice. I think Kelly green might have been what we used. Yeah, Kelly green. There we go. All right, and then pink. Just to sort of blend in that line. Okay, then we're going to use our white. The problem is I should have waited to use the pencil on the black lines till I was all done. I definitely smeared that a little bit. All right, there we go. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and grab our gold Sleechy metallic gel pen here. Okay. Oh, thanks, Wong. Well, the illustration is by an illustrator named Johanna Basford. And then, yeah, we're using Prismacolors. This is in her World of Flowers book. But thank you. Okay. And then we're going to use our purple. There's all these little dots that Johanna has drawn, so we are just going to enhance them with our gel pen here. Music's not too loud, right? I like the 120 set, have been playing around with some color combinations. Oh yeah, it's fantastic. I love it. Well, if it helps, there's that flower there. In the color theory stream that we did, let's see, I'm trying to decide if that's just, yeah, I think I colored that flower just a little bit darker. Oh well, they don't have to be identical. Let's see if I've got it right here. So I have some color palettes that I made with Prismacolor. But then also in the color theory class, if it helps, they renamed some colors in addition to adding cinemas. Oh yeah, and they changed it so that the regular ones are no longer water soluble, because with the regular color pencils, they were a problem because you couldn't use the watercolor pencils and the regular ones together. Oh, nice, Wong, very nice. Okay, so this was the worksheet that we did in our color theory class. These are a few color combinations that I used to show like shading and contrast. Plus, if you want to practice, I have this worksheet in the Facebook group. You can type here, !Facebook there, and that'll take you to it. And this is in the files there. And then the color theory stream is listed, you know, in the live streams and everything. But there's this worksheet, and then there's practice petals down here for you to practice on. But then I gave you the names. Now, these were the previous names that they had. So, you know, lime green, garnet red is what they are now. But these are all color combinations that I used with the Arteza color pencils. And then I give you the instructions for how we colored and everything. And in the color theory stream, we go over a lot with the color wheel as well. So if you want a worksheet to practice and some color combinations for the Arteza pencils, that's this there. And then I believe I have this one also, and these are color palettes that I enjoy using with the Prismacolors. And they've got all of the, let's see if we can zoom in. There you go. You can see it's got all of the pencil names and numbers there as well. So anyway, that's all in the files in the Facebook group if that's something you're interested in. It's all for free. It doesn't cost anything. As well as, I don't know if you have one yet. I know you said you were swatching, but there is a color chart in the files as well. Okay. Well, let's see. Let's move on from the flower here. Let's see. Let's do... Do we want to do leaves? Okay, chat, what do you want to do? Do you want to do leaves, or do you want to work on the butterfly? Because I know, you know, not everybody was here for the leaves the first time, or we can just move on to the butterfly. Whatever you want. All right, let's see. Let's at least pick out the colors for the butterfly for when we move on to it. You can really make it anything. Let's see, we've got pinks and greens. I think definitely some blues would be in order for the butterfly. So let's grab, 1101. Let's see, that's 906. Actually, 906 could be fine. All right, 906, which is Copenhagen Blue. Okay, and then let's grab 903. Let's see, that's 133. That's not what we want. 906, 902, 208, 903. Here we are. Butterfly, okay. 903, and then we'll grab, let's see, 1086. I love sky blue light. That's probably one of my favorites. Hi, Samantha. Welcome. We're getting ready to color a butterfly here. Turn this one down. I feel like it's glaring a little bit. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Okay. Let's see. So that's the blues. Let's see. How many different things? Definitely some kind of cream and yellow. Ooh, I am running low on cream. Let's see if this one's going to sharpen. I don't know. The wood looks a little iffy. Ha, we're in luck. It's sharpened. Yay. I will say the quality of like the wood and the way that the lead is glued into the barrel is definitely better with Arteza. It's definitely a detriment to the Prismacolor for sure. All right, let's grab 1084, which is ginger root. And then I want to grab kind of what are the muted tones, like 1017 or 1019. Let's see, that's 1019 rosy beige. Ideally 1017, but again, I'm not always the best at putting things back where they belong. 1017, there we are, clay rose. All right, so let's see, we've got the blue, we've got that. Nubbies are the best. Oh yeah, I have plenty of nubbies. The little nubster pencils. Actually, that might be good enough for colors for this. All right, let's sharpen this Copenhagen blue real quick. Yeah, there are no shortage of nubbies in this collection, for sure. There we go. Okay, let's zoom on in for our butterfly. How do you sharpen them when they're that small handheld? Oh yeah, most definitely. So when I sharpen Prismacolors, I have this. The Doll 133. You can actually see it a little bit better in this camera here. But I have the Doll 133. This was given to me by one of the other viewers, Donna Sharp. She's actually absolutely wonderful. And I love it for my ergo sauce, my Artezas. Hi, Bo. Welcome. The Artezas, because I get a nice long point to them. In fact, let me show you the difference. Okay, so here is one of the pinks. So I get a nice long point. Here is the problem I have though with Prismacolors and this sharpener. So this one's a little bit long. At some point I sharpened this on something. I do, yeah. So for my Prismacolors here, you can see I moved the, well, there's my camera in the way and my coffee, yay. But I moved, so normally I store my drawers behind my computer. But I move my drawers over here while I'm streaming, just because I've got this little table and this is much easier for me to sort and find everything. Yeah, that one, I store them there. But so the problem that I have with Prismacolors and the Doll 133 is that Prismacolors, first of all, you can see, here, this cream is a good example. Do you see how this wood is just sort of shredded? The wood quality in the Prismacolors are not great. Like this one's not too bad. Like you can see where this seam split is right here. Like just in general, like here, look at the Arteza in comparison. So These two are Prismacolors. This is Arteza, and you can just see how this shreds. Now, it doesn't happen all the time, and sometimes it has to do with how old your blade is also. But it's pretty consistently choppy. It's almost like the wood is too soft, if that makes sense. You also get things like this, where chunks of the wood will get taken out, and that can seriously affect how, you know, how much pencil you're wasting and all of that. So the reason that I don't like to use the doll with the Prismacolors is because A, the wood is so soft, and B, so is the lead, and it's so much more prone to breakage. So when I sharpen these, I feel like the lead needs much more support around the exposed lead than a harder lead pencil does. So sharpening it shorter makes it so less of the lead is exposed. So like this one could probably be, yeah, so you can see this seam right here where it's almost cracked right down the middle. So this I don't usually do because you see how much of the lead is exposed. And from about here on, it's going to be so much more prone to breakage versus when you have something shorter where more of the wood is covering it. So, and you can see that it's a little bit, hi Kimmy, it's a little bit wider here and it's a little bit thinner here. So in general, your Prismacolors are going to survive better if they're sharpened shorter versus the long fine point. The long fine point, however, works great for the Artezas and the Ergosoft and anything that's a little bit harder. So yes, I always use the handhelds because I use this, you know, this wider one, and this is the Staedtler. Oh, I forget what the name of it is exactly, but this is the one I prefer. I've had the Prismacolor one, the Prismacolor sharpener, and it was okay. It wasn't my favorite, but I've gone through a number of these Staedtlers. The only thing I don't like about the Staedtler sharpener is that, here, let's see if I can open it here without making, ow, just poke myself with a pencil. A lot of times, the blade inside, depending on how dull it is what can cause your pencil leads to break. Now, if you look on the inside of your sharpener here, let's move this, I don't want to ding that up. Okay, so if you look, well, it would help if it was in focus. There we go. All right, so you see, obviously it's got the little Staedtler imprint on the inside. There's a single screw to remove, but you're gonna have to purchase the Staedtler specific blades because do you see this little indent here? That keeps you from being able to replace this sharpener with any other normal blades. Let me show you another sharpener here as an example. Let's see if I've got one over here, maybe? Do I? Yes, I do. Perfect. Okay. 1 second. Shelf back here. All right. So if you look at something like this, let's get this in focus here. Okay, so do you see how it is just flat? This is essentially a universal blade, and you can just get these as replacements on Amazon. So if you use a handheld sharpener and you notice that your blade is, or your pencil is shredding more, the shavings are falling apart. So here is a good example. Okay, here, we'll just keep this in here so we don't make too much of a mess. Okay. So a nice sharp blade will produce, now this is from Ergosoft, so it's a little bit better wood, but the idea behind it. Okay, so you see how this is one nice long strip like this? This means that you are using and like this is with Prismacolor, this is how it should look. This means you are using a nice sharp blade. That being said, when you're using a blade that is starting to dull, you can get longer ones, but do you see how it's kind of choppy? You're going to get a lot more of these little pieces with a duller blade. So if you have a sharpener where, say you've been sharpening Prismacolor, and for a while you were getting nice, less lead breakage, and you were getting nice long strips like this, and then all of a sudden you start getting choppier ones, your lead starts breaking, and you get little pieces. If it worked well with it before, and it starts not working with it anymore, and you're getting a lot of these chunky ones, then that means that your blade is starting to dull and it needs replacing. But, like I said, that's one of the reasons, the only downside that I have with the Staedtler sharpener is because they're not as easy to replace. You have to get the Staedtler specific blades because of this little indent, because you obviously wouldn't be able to fit one of these normal rectangle ones in here because of that little indent. It sits up, so it wouldn't be able to screw all the way flush to the piece where it needs to be, which means it would be off center and it would totally mess up your pencils. So that is the only downside I have about this one. So something to keep in mind. This is just a, you know, a cheapo little standard little sharpener, but honestly, whatever works. If you find that your sharpener was good once, but it's not anymore, all it means is that the blade was dull and that you need to replace the blade. So, little sharpener 101. Welcome to the Emily tangents. I tend to go off. I also have an electric pencil sharpener that I like to use, but I don't use that on stream very often because, well, it's a little loud. Especially because the mic's right up there, and I don't want to do that to you guys all the time. Occasionally, if I have a lot to sharpen, I'll like mute the mic, and then that won't be as much of an issue. But anywho, all right. Yeah, no problem. So different pencils have different capabilities as sharpeners. I bought the Doll 133 because I was told they were good for Prismacolor. So one of the things you can do with the Doll 133 also, there's this little nub back here. Let's see if I can do this without dumping. I don't know if you can see, but do you see how it has sharp versus a little bit shorter? You can adjust that, so that can help. Me personally though, I prefer not to use my Prismacolors in the Doll 133. I love the Doll 133. It's great with like all of my other pencils and everything. So it's more that I blame Prismacolor and not so much the sharpener. There we go. There we go. All right, let's grab a sip of coffee here. Okay. All right. So we are going to use, the colors we're going to use for this butterfly are, we have Copenhagen Blue, which is PC 906. We have True Blue, which is PC 903. Pretty sure the name was True Blue. Blue Frog, yeah. See, once it gets sharpened away, I'm like, I don't really remember the names. And then Sky Blue Light, which is PC 1086. Thanks, Kimmy. And then on the inside, we're going to be using Clay Rose, which is PC 1017. And then Ginger Root, which is PC 1084. And then Cream, which is, have I worn away? Huh, I think I've worn that away. All right, well, Cream is PC 914. That's so funny. Hi, Abby, welcome. Welcome, welcome. There we go. All righty. So we're going to start with Copenhagen Blue. The thing it is my camera tries to adjust with the lighting and everything. So occasionally if my hand takes up too much, it gets brighter than it should. Yeah, Kimmy, how are you feeling? Just a little bit there. There we go. I'm sorry. Well, if you want to go rest too, that's just fine. Make sure I do it on the same on both sides. So whenever I color the larger butterfly pictures, that's one of the problems that I have, is I have a tendency to jump ahead because I get excited and I finish the whole wing. And then by the time it's time for me to do the other side, I've forgotten how I colored the first one. And so half the time they don't look the way that they should. So I'm real bad about it, but I have to try and like one side and the other side, one side, other side, one side, rather than all one side and then try and remember what the heck I did for the other side. There we go. Okay. Well, I should hope so. All right, sky blue light now. Actually, I take that back. We're still going to use the Copenhagen blue because I wanted to use it on these inside lines as well. There we go. That's better. All right. So we're not even doing sky blue yet. We're going to do true blue. I don't want to cover up too much. I want to leave that last little bit for the sky blue light. And the sky blue light will kind of blend everything in together. And then depending on how much it lightens it, we may go over it a second time. Also trying not to press too hard with this one because at some point I sharpened such a long point on it. It's great for like pinpointing things, but yeah, I get nervous about it breaking off. I definitely use a heavier hand with the Prismacolors. They're extremely forgiving too. Just because it lays down so much pigment, you can move it around. Logan has a sinus infection, Kimmy, or you do? I love coffee. Why is coffee so good? You know, it's funny, I didn't drink it for years. Then I had my second kid. And I started drinking it. All right, sky blue light. We're just gonna kind of blend that in. Very loud vehicle outside. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Bet his neighbors appreciate him. A fat lip? Oh, you had the sinus infection. He has a fat lip. How did he get a fat lip? Did he run into something? My youngest loves to roughhouse and wrestle, and inevitably somebody bonks their head. Or I was watching a neighbor's kid yesterday, and they were goofing on the couch, and they were kind of dancing around, and they just collided heads, and they're both just like rubbing their heads. They're like, we're fine. Yeah, see, it gets so much brighter when my hand gets too much in the view. Go. Oh, I forgot these ones here. There we go. All right. He's now Captain America and jumps around like a crazy boy. That's hilarious. Well, see, our couch that we have has these big fluffy pillows, and they are his new favorite thing to chuck around and charge at and jump on the couch and jump around the couch. And as much as I tell him, don't jump on the couch, you're gonna fall off, it doesn't always stop him. Well, I couldn't catch him catch him in time, meaning see him do it, not physically catch him, but he was jumping on the couch pretty vigorously yesterday, and he rolled right off, and I was just like, I hate to say I told you so, kid, but this is what I'm talking about. All right, so clay rose. Let's see, how do I want to do this? We are not going to do one on the other side. We are just going to do it on one side. Sometimes the only way they can learn, you know, you can tell them and tell them and tell them, but sometimes the only way they can learn is let them experience it for themselves, you know? Just happened to work out that, you know, exactly, hopefully a low fall. Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah, it was like a foot, and he'd rolled onto some pillows, but still. I think it more startled him than anything else. There we go. All right, clay rose. That's good, Kimmy. All right, and then ginger root. Kids that age are surprisingly resilient too. Just running around and stuff. Not too shabby. I definitely miss those times. Even my grandchildren are too old for those adventures. Yeah. Oh yeah, they bounce. Oh yeah, most definitely. I know. I was reading an article the other day, and actually, so I've started watching a friend of mine's kids regularly once a week. And these kids are quite a bit younger, like, you know, less than a year, and anyway, you know, toddler and baby. And my children are not super far from that, but far enough that, you know, you forget what it's like when it was like that. I want to wrap them all bubble wrap. I know, right? So it's a little bit of a reminder for me when I watch them, just how far my children have come. You know, we're using cream now, by the way. You know, it's easy to get wrapped up in what they should or shouldn't be doing at this age. But when you get a reminder of what things were like, and then you're like, you know, things are pretty easy now. But then I also look at him versus them, and he looks a lot more like a kid now and not necessarily like a toddler or a baby anymore. And I'm just like, why are they growing up so fast? But, you know, now that they're older too, their problems are not as simple as they were when they were babies. You know, when they were babies, using clay rose now, it's more like they're crying. Okay, there's a list of things that are wrong. You know, they either need a diaper change, or they're hungry, or they're tired, or something's hurting them, or, you know, there's a very obvious list as to what is wrong and how you can fix it. But when they get older, especially when they're in school regularly, you know, things just become infinitely more complicated. There's, you know, social situations, there's anxiety, there's all these other things, and it's just not as easy to fix. And, you know, the best I can do is give them the tools they need to deal with situations as they come up, but still, it's flipping terrifying. Like, I just want to keep them little forever, you know? So I find that I'm probably holding on to them tighter now, because the realization of, you know, they are getting older, and it's just like, no, no, you can stay little and stay with me forever, and don't go anywhere, and stop growing up so fast. But there's already times where my oldest like looks at me like, "Oh, mom," or you know, she thinks that she knows more than me, which, oh, that's not karmic payback at all. Don't push them to grow too fast. I used to tell mine I wanted to put a book on their heads to keep them small. Yep, I am right there with you. You know, with my first, I was your typical ambitious first parent, and I couldn't wait for her next milestones. You know, it was like, oh, she's you know, she's rolled over. Oh, she can, you know, stand against furniture. Oh, she's, you know, walking or crawling, or, you know, I was just like, I was just counting the minutes practically to, my daughter has teenagers of her own. Oh my goodness. You know, until she hit her next milestone and everything. But the fact of the matter is, all of those little milestones, like in the long run, as long as they're developing healthily, it really doesn't matter as much. And I realized that maybe I rushed hers a little bit. So when I had my youngest, it's much more relaxed. Granted, he just took off on his own anyway, nothing to do with me. But it's still, it's I find myself wanting to hold on just a little bit more. I mean, we're not having any more kids or anything, so I think about that, and I see that he's still, when he sleeps sometimes he still looks a little bit like a baby, and I'm just like, oh. But then, I put him next to an actual baby or an actual toddler, and I'm just like, oh, girl, just keep growing with them, you're okay. Yeah, but I don't want him to grow. I think a big part of it is, as they grow, I'm using True Blue right now, by the way. I find that it's going to be a lot harder to protect them, especially even just when you're carrying them. They're in your stomach, they're safe, Then when they're babies, you are their world. You wrap them in a carrier, hold on to them, literally, like, it is your job to protect them. But as they get older and go out into the world and, are away from you at school all day, there is just, you have to let go a little bit. And that letting go and trusting that you taught them what they need to, deal with different situations, and you're just not there to protect them as much. That, I think, is the hardest thing. Knowing that you have to let go and to trust they're going to be able to handle these situations on their own, Now, they're still young and everything, but I can't help but fast forward in my mind a little bit, just being like, how are things going to be when we get to this stage, Well, I think some of you have gotten to know me enough through the streams and everything, but I tend to overthink things just a tad. But they're really smart kiddos, and there are times that they just blow me away, and it's just like, okay, well, you can't protect them, but they can learn to protect themselves. Yeah, exactly. So I'm hoping, it is very hard. I'm hoping that, I'll have taught them enough to be able to understand and take care of themselves, Excuse me while I tear up over here, because my children are growing up. Okay, let's see. We're going to use a little bit of gel pen on this butterfly here. Okay. Let's grab our blue. It can be very hard once they're adults. Oh, I can't even imagine. I'll tell you, the next stage that I am terrified for is them getting cell phones. OCD light, yeah. Yeah, it's them getting cell phones. I mean, I don't have to worry about it for a little bit. Maybe once they hit junior high is probably when we'll get them, but I'm just hoping that at that point we'll have a good enough relationship and an open enough relationship that, they can talk to me about things, and I don't have to worry. I can trust them to not make bad phone decisions, Thanks, Mom. All right. So there is our little blue butterfly here. Let's see if we can zoom out a tad more here. Get this in focus. Oh, it's so much harder to see this when my autofocus is being wonky. Here we go. You never stop worrying. Mine are growing, and I still make them check in. You know, it's funny. So, you know, I'm in my 30s. I'm 33. You know, I'm not quite mid-30s yet, but I'd like to think that I'm fairly into the adult mode, you know. But a few years ago, cell phones, cars, motorbikes just remain calm. Actually, cell phones are a safety measure now. It's social media. Yeah, that's what it is. It's the social media and all the apps on the phones. Phones don't bother me so much as everything that you have access to on the phones. But I also don't want to restrict in a sense and make them think that I don't trust them. It's not even them that I don't trust. It's the rest of the world I don't trust. You know what I mean? But so I went to Scotland, you know, I've talked about it before, my trip to Scotland to go, I went and met Johanna and all of that. But anyway, I was talking to my mother about it. I actually ended up making the trip with my mother. Thanks, Kimmy. But anyway, when I told her about that, she's a babe. Oh, oh, come on. I'm in my 30s. But anyway, I was telling my mother about the trip. And so I was 31 at the time, I think, when I went. Anyway, but I was telling my mom, and I didn't go with my husband or my family. I mean, that just gets exponentially expensive. I just took the trip by myself. But I told my mother about it, and she was just like, "You're going by yourself?" Like, okay, Kirsten, I got you then. But, you know, she was just like, "What do you mean?" Like, my mother was very concerned. And it ended, you know, it's also a bonding thing, you know, lock out and filter. Very true. Very true. You can. But anyway, it was a bonding thing, and I loved going with her, but there was definitely a part of her that was very concerned for me traveling abroad on my own, which I get, but it was interesting just because, you know, I'm in my 30s, and in my head, I didn't question it, but coming from a mother's perspective, I get it. Just because if my kid, you know, one of my kids would be like, "I'm going abroad by myself. I'm going to drive on the wrong side of the road." You know, I totally get that. And actually, I was so relieved she was there. I did not feel comfortable, you know, because you have to drive a stick, and I did not feel comfortable driving on the opposite side of the road. I knew I was just going to make some sort of mistake. I knew it. I knew it. All right, what color flowers should we do for these pointed ones? I am thinking like a nice kind of yellow cream going on here. We've got the pink, the blue, the green. I think cream would be a nice balance for that. So let's see what we can get. Well, and I am one of 4, so I am not the oldest one in my family. My oldest sister is over 40. And then I have a younger brother who's under 30. So I am baby number 3 of my family. Not so much baby anymore, but yellow, blue, yeah. Well, I've got the blue on the butterfly. I think a nice cream would go there. So let's take a look here. So let's grab, I don't want to go too dark. We're going to grab 942. Okay, 942, which is yellow ochre. Okay, 942. And then we're going to go 140. Oh, are we, Samantha? That's awesome. 33-year-olds unite. Woohoo. Purple, pink, blue. Yeah, well, I'm thinking that we'll do purple for the other butterfly over here. And then we'll have the pink and the blue and then the yellow and then the green of the leaves. And then we'll probably, for the flowers on the bottom, and we'll bring in the colors that we used on the top, on the bottom as well. And then we're going to do some sort of background. I haven't decided what, though. Not on the outside, but on the inside. Oh, that just means you have a low stress life then. Okay, so what did I say? 140? What is that? Eggshell? Pretty sure that's eggshell. Only 5 years older? All right, there we go. Well, and I find that, when I was, 15, no, not 15, 16, 17 years ago, however long it was ago that I was in high school, which was ages ago, age differences were such a big deal. Let's see, 940. No, that's 140. I remember thinking 30, like I remember when I was younger, and I remember thinking that 30 seemed so old. Yeah, eggshell. Like 30 just seemed so old, because I remember my youth pastor was 30, and I just remember thinking that 30 was just so old. And then here I am in my 30s now, and although yes, like that young seems like a lifetime ago, I still don't feel that old. At least I don't feel as old as I thought 30 was when I was younger. And I find now, you don't really ask people their ages too often. And so I find now that, hi Trudy, hi Kelly. I find now that age doesn't really even matter all that much. I mean, I've got good friends that are, in their 40s and 50s and everything. And it's just like, once you get to adulthood and you're not around all of these, other, super young people, it just really doesn't matter. What matters is, what we have in common. Do we get along as people? Do we have the same interests, the same, life ideals, there are some older mothers at my kids' school, so it's like, okay, we've got kids that are the same age. Do we, have the same style of parenting? Do we agree on the same things? So really, it just feels like at this point, age doesn't really matter. Now, if I was looking for like a partner, I mean, I'm married, so I'm not, but if I was looking for a partner, I would have to take into consideration age, because if you think about it, if, I was in my 30s and I was interested in somebody who was like, in their late 40s or even, like 50 for whatever reason, I'd have to think, okay, so they're 15 years older than me. When I'm 50, they're going to be 65 and that kind of thing. So in a partner, yes, I'd probably have to consider age more. But as far as friends are concerned and, the way that I hang out, age really doesn't matter. When you're 60, you still feel 35. Good to know. Good to know. I probably will. Oh, Bo, you did a test stream? How did it go? I know you've done like a few, you have a few live streams on Instagram. Bo, I don't know about that, because I watched your live stream on Instagram and you did just fine. Like you did great. I think you're going to do just fine. I mean, I'm very outgoing, so that definitely helps. But as far as like as I know you were talking about your English and everything, and it is just fine. It is absolutely fantastic. Well, not in Texas, right? You can pick up a husband here like a bus stop. Okay, so funny story. We'll all get started coloring here too, but we're going to start with yellow ochre. So when I was a new parent, I didn't know a whole lot of other moms. But when I was pregnant with my oldest, I worked at Gymboree, which a lot of the stores are closed now. And for those not in the U.S., Gymboree is a children's clothing store, anywhere from preemie all the way up to about 12 years old. Well, I was working there, and it was actually great because I could keep an eye on sales, and I stocked up on baby clothes and all that kind of stuff. But there were, especially after my oldest was born, whenever, there was, I think part of me, I was just so desperate to find, because once if you're not working and you're not in school, you don't have the kind of community that you would if you were around people all the time. You're at home, you're with the kids, you're not interacting with a whole lot of other people. And so for me, I'm a very social person, as you can tell, because I like to talk. And I just felt like I was just desperate for that sort of camaraderie, that sort of, other mothers, because they know, they can commiserate. They know what I'm going through, the sleepless nights, the questionable poopy diapers, the why are they eating that? Why are they not eating that? It's just, you need that kind of fellowship. And so we're using eggshell now. When I was working there, it was because I have an outgoing personality, it's very easy for me to strike up a conversation with someone. And so what I actually ended up doing when my oldest was a baby is I met enough moms and we ended up putting together a little play group, and it was great. We got together once a week. You know, the babies didn't really play, but it gave us all a chance to chat and talk and everything. But my husband was jokingly saying that it was like I was picking up other moms. I took my David everywhere with me. Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, those baby raps are fantastic. But it was just funny because it would be, you know, I forget how they would start. But essentially it was like, oh, you're a mom. I'm a mom. I have a kid. You have a kid. Our kid is the same age. Can we be friends? You know? But it was the same basic formula of you see somebody, you're mildly interested in them because it looks like you have some, using cream now, by the way, you know, you have something in common. You approach them. You talk. You find out your interests. And then you ask them out. But in my case, it was asking them to a park or my house or something so that we could have a play date. And it worked out. And I had a great group of about 5 women. And like I said, we met up once a week. And then eventually we all kind of went our separate ways because we live in a college town. So their husbands would, you know, like finish their programs and then off they'd go. But from there, I met a few other moms where I ended up finding a local mom group, and it just kind of went from there. From that mom group, because it was like a legitimate, like, set up mom group, you know, they had like the apps and all of that. And then from there, I found out about the good schools. So by the time my kid was old enough for school, I knew about the good schools and like all of that. So it was just invaluable. But we joked because it was like I was picking up moms. Like, you're married, you have a kid now, you don't pick up men anymore. You pick up moms because you want friends. Exactly. Misery loves company, right? All right, we're going to use chestnut here. But it definitely helps that I have a bit of a, in case you didn't notice, a little bit of an outgoing personality. So it was never... It's never been that intimidating for me to talk to a complete stranger. And it's even better when we have something in common because we have something to talk about. In fact, so one of my good friends now, I think they might have even done this in the UK. I don't know if they did it in other countries, but maybe about a year or 2 ago, Build-A-Bear had this promotion. This is yellow ochre now. Had this promotion. The promotion was for one day, the bears cost your age. So anybody who knows Build-A-Bear knows those bears are upwards of like $30 stuffing. For those who don't know, Build-A-Bear, you go there and they have these empty stuffed animals, and the kids get to go and they pick out their stuffed animal, they fill it with stuffing, you put like a little heart inside, you can put a little sound box, sometimes you can record things, they have all these special little outfits. Needless to say, a single trip to Build-A-Bear, super easy to spend upwards of $75, $100, like easy. But the stuffed animals themselves are about 30 bucks. So for one day, they had a promotion where the bear cost your age. So at the time, not anymore, but at the time, my youngest, he was pretty young, like, 2, 3, whatever. And so I was just like, oh my gosh, I can get a $30 bear for $2 or $3. Heck yes. So my friend and I, we went there and we took our kids and everything, and we're using eggshell now, by the way. We took our kids, and oh my goodness. First of all, we had to drive about an hour and a half because the closest Build-A-Bear, that's how far it was. This was all over the news. This was an intense sale. Like, I think Build-A-Bear pretty well regretted their choice, cream now, their choice in sale. I don't think they're going to do it again because it was a madhouse. I mean, we got there an hour early and still the line was just wrapped around the mall. I mean, it was intense. I think I want to make this a little bit more yellow. We're going to get a stronger yellow color here to blend in. We're going to grab 1011, I think, if I can find it. That's 1035. That's 940. This is what happens when I don't put things back. There we go. 1011. Perfect. I might have. It's possible. You stream for 5 months, you tend to tell the same stories. Well, then in that case, I'll speed it up. But anyway, we were standing in line for probably about 6 hours to get this. But the thing is that I had gotten to know the ladies behind and in front of me, and at some point the line was so long they came to put the sign in front of us, but because I had gotten to know the ladies, because I'm as outgoing as I am, they dropped the sign right in front of me, and the ladies were like, no, 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 they're with us. There were a whole party and everything. At this point, we had been waiting in line for probably like 5 hours, and when he plopped that sign in front of me, I was just like, no! But anyway, the point of that story was because I was outgoing enough, I was able to get to know those ladies, and like we became fast friends in a matter. Now, granted, we were standing there for hours, but it definitely makes it easy when you're just like, hey! You haven't heard it? Yeah, so yeah, we stood there for hours. Like I said, it was a total of 6 hours. The kids did amazingly well. Like I was shocked and surprised they held it together for as long as they did. But it was becoming, hi Lisa, it has been a while, thank you. But anyway, because we were standing there and the lines were so long, it was a fire hazard, so they were like telling people to leave. And so, you know, we'd been standing there for hours, and they come in and they put the cutoff sign right in front of me, and I literally, like, I'm not usually one to, you know, exclaim negatively, but I was just like, no, you know, like, we had been standing here for hours, and can you imagine having to tell your very small children after standing there for hours that you're not getting your stuffed animal and we're going home? Like, the mama bear in me was just like, I can't, this is not happening, you know? So anyway, we grouped together with the women in front and behind us because we'd gotten to know each other so well, and we got in line, and I tell you, my youngest, he was so excited to get his stuffed animal. So he absolutely loves Pokemon. Like, he loves it to pieces. And we were in line, and of course, you know, as the line's moving on, because they only let a certain amount of people in the store because fire hazards and all that stuff. So it was finally our turn, and he's standing there, and he loves the Pokemon Eevee. And anyway, we're standing there, and we look in the bin, and there's only one left. And the little boy in front of him, who was before us, went to go get it. And he was just like, he was shaking, like he was so worried. And then the little boy changed his mind and put it back, and it was finally our turn. And I just remember he was standing there, and he was literally like, I have never seen a small child so focused on one thing. And the moment they said that it was our turn, he made a beeline for it. He snatched it out of the bin, and he just stood there, just like shaking it and like wringing it. He was just, it was adorable, but I was so relieved that he got the one that he wanted. We did, yeah. It was like the last one, right? Yes, exactly, Joanna. Yeah, and we did. And because the bear was so inexpensive, I let the kids pick out a few of the accessories. But to this day, I mean, this has been almost, because he was 2 or 3 at the time, I can't remember. Anyway, it has been a good handful of years, and it's still his favorite stuffed animal. Like, no question. So, was it worth the 6 hours for my son? Yes. My daughter's not nearly as attached to hers, but for him, the 6 hours to get the inexpensive Build-A-Bear, yes, it was worth it. The only thing is, it's because it's got a sound box in it, I can't throw it in the wash, so I've definitely had to wipe it down a few times. But it is by far his favorite stuffed animal. All right, so that was a dark green. We're just doing this stem here to match the other ones real quick. All right, and then true green. The question is, were they to have the sale again? Would I do it again? I might, actually. However, I would get in line like the day before. No, I don't know if I'd do it again. That was pretty intense. Using white now. I probably should have used grass green there. I just realized that. It's alright. It's alright. You know, and it wasn't bad. I had my friend there, and the kids had plenty of, you know, screens to keep them occupied and stuff, because can you imagine trying to do... that was the one. Can you imagine trying to do that without entertainment? The key is to make your situation its best, and you made line friends. Exactly. Exactly. Well, and you know, I honestly, I don't know what I was thinking when we went, but I didn't think that we were going to be in line that long. So I didn't bring as many snacks as I probably should have. Thankfully,
the line was sitting right near a Nordstrom, which for those that aren't familiar, it's just a kind of a little bit spendier clothing chain, but they have a little cafe in there. And so since the line was right by it, I was able to go in and get them, you know, some popcorn, and, you know, I think I grabbed some Madeleines or whatever, and I had like a chair in the car, like a little stool thingy, so I went back out to the car and got that, and so the kids sat, and thankfully I did think to bring the portable battery for our devices, so I think without the devices probably wouldn't have gone as well. There we go. My middle granddaughter, now 12, has a stuffed dog she's had since infancy called Pinky, who is now shapeless and gray but won't give it up, right? They just cling to some of them. You know, what's interesting, too, is my daughter, she had a stuffed owl that she loved for years and years and years, and now you wouldn't even know that she liked it at some point. But, you know, those little TY brand stuffed animals, they're usually like $5, and you get them in the end. Well, for a good almost 2 years, my son was attached to this little panda. This wasn't anything special about it. It was just one of these little panda stuffies. I think he liked it because it was small enough for him to hold. So anyway, I was so terrified of great memories, Maya. Oh, most definitely. I was so terrified of him losing it and then having to deal with the fallout of having lost his favorite stuffed animal that I may or may not have bought like 2 backups because they were so, you know, it wasn't anything super unique. So yeah, I definitely purchased 2 backup pandas. So now he just has like 3 pandas. We have, the way that we store those little stuffies is we've got one of those clear, the family calls it Stinky. We have one of those clear shoe racks on the back of the kid's door. And so they store all of their the small stuffies in those slots so they can get to them and everything. But yeah, it's good stuff. I have a lot of kid stories. We're going to use the bronze gel pen here for these little items here. I like to tell the kid stories without giving too much information, you know, all vaguish. All right, so yellow ochre. But then you try to switch them out. We did that with a stuffed monkey with the youngest, right? Yeah, that's the other thing is thankfully he never noticed, but there was definitely a difference between the older one and the new one because I did switch them out occasionally so I could wash them. But the original panda, the fur is a little pilled just because it's not as soft as it was because he took it everywhere with him. And so there was definitely a difference in material. Replace my kid's hamster. I get it, right? Oh, yeah. First time we had some fish that died, we definitely secretly replaced it with a new betta fish. Fish are rough, though, man, because they're so fragile. I mean, because even now, that was eggshell, by the way. Now we're going to use cream. Even now, we had a cat that passed away a few years back, or maybe a year ago now, maybe a year and a half ago. You know, it's been a little while, but to this day, he thinks his hamster is 20. That's hilarious. They remember him every now and then, and my youngest doesn't quite understand the permanence of death, and so he speaks about him in the sense of he wonders what he's doing right now, and he talks about how he misses him. Of course, it just breaks my heart, but you know, we've got the new kitten and everything, so that definitely helps. And, you know, I'll probably explain it to him a little bit more when he gets older. Chestnut, by the way. But it definitely makes for interesting conversations. All right, let's use cream here to kind of blend that in. Here we go. Let's zoom out and see the other. Easier when it's goldfish. I know, right? Because they all look the same. The print on them is all the same and everything. My oldest is smart enough now, though. Like, she'd probably catch on to it and be like, that one's tail is slightly different, Ma. I'm on to you. I'm on to what you got going on. All right, let's shift this over here. We're going to do this pointed flower here. So we'll do yellow, 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 and then we have our pinkish purple in here, pinkish purple, and then we got the blue flower here, and then we'll do, I don't know, maybe we'll even do blue here too. We'll see. We'll see how it all looks when we have the flowers done. Sometimes I kind of need to visualize it before I decide on the colors, you know? But since we're doing yellow, we're going to move on over and do this yellow. It all comes in its own time. Just buckle in and enjoy the ride. Exactly, exactly. All right, so yellow ochre here. Because every now and then, too, like, I'll look at him. Because, like I said, my youngest, he still looks kind of babyish to me. Just because, you know, he's still got the round cheeks. And he's super cute and everything. Every now and then, though, he'll do something. He'll say something. Or he'll, you know, be standing in a certain way. And I look at him and it's just like, he looks so grown up. Like, when did my baby stop being a baby? My kids would always know, right? Yeah, they're too smart. Like, for a while, my oldest has had a pretty strong belief in fairies. But apparently on the ride to school just this morning, I guess she was questioning whether or not they were actually real. And I was just like, oh, that's an end of an era right there. All right, we're using cream now. And not necessarily the tooth fairy, but like Tinkerbell and such. But I don't know. I figure I'll let her believe in the magic for as long as she wants to. Then we're using Deco Yellow 1011. You know, and I'm realizing because I'm telling this story, I'm not doing a very good job of saying what I'm using. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put these in order for how we're using them. Okay. They're people now. Proceed with caution. I know, right? When did that happen? When did my small people become big people? They understand things and they have opinions of their own. That's not supposed to happen. Also, pretty sure my oldest thinks she's smarter than me. Wait till they find your weakness and pounce on it. No. Okay, for some reason my cream doesn't have the number on it anymore, but okay, here we go. So we have Deco Yellow, PC 1011, then we have cream, then we have eggshell, which is 140, then we've got yellow ochre 942, and chestnut 1081, and that's kind of the order we're going in. We start with the yellow ochre, then we go eggshell and cream, then we go back with the chestnut, and then we touch up with the yellow deco, and then touch up as needed with these ones to give it a smooth gradient. So just throwing that out there because I'm realizing I'm not, but I'm using the same formula for every flower. Kids are sneaky and you'll be wrong a lot. No, I'm the parent. I'm always right. Right? I'm kidding. We have had moments occasionally where one of them said something and I've realized that, holy crud, I am wrong. Like, they totally, like, caught something that I didn't. And I'm like, how did that happen? I work in pediatrics and see kids sick and fussy. Mom's drain, not the best influence on making me want to have kids. That's fair, Samantha. Just know that there are some good points. Just hold tight, Mama. You're doing it all right. Thanks, Joanna. All right, we're going to grab chestnut here. Well, my goal is, you know, happy, well-adjusted, useful members of society, right? That's the goal. Happy, useful, well-adjusted members of society. I dread the day when they know how to use technology better than me. All right, yellow ochre. Because I'm sure that day will come. There'll be some new app that I have no clue, you know? Like what's the point of Snapchat? What is the point of Snapchat? There'll be a time when you become the stupidest person in the world to your child, and then in time, you'll become the smartest again. Yeah, I'm at that stage now because I have definitely called my mother and apologized for me being a little turkey when I was a kid, and then asked her, and then thanked her for sticking with us all long enough to, you know, have me, and then asking her, how on earth did she do it when there were, you know, more than two, and it was the 80s, and you didn't have screens and yeah, I'm definitely very appreciative now for what my mother went through for all of us. You teach and hope for the best and kind, most of all. Yes, and kind. Yes, we work on empathy quite a bit. I'm already there. Wait till they want TikTok. Oh, what is TikTok? What is the point? Like, okay, so I use Instagram for work stuff. I do have a personal Twitter, but I don't use it very much. And then I have Facebook, but I mostly use Facebook to keep up with family. Everything else seems so self-indulgent. Like, I can't. I mean, Instagram's for pictures. Twitter's for status updates with the occasional, GIF or GIF, and then Facebook is for family. So after that, what is the point of all the other apps? I don't get it, and there's so many of them. Like, I guess TikTok is some sort of, you match yourself up with some sort of song, and you record yourself, like, doing something funny with it. I guess it's entertainment, I suppose. But I just don't get it. I mean, maybe it is a generational thing. Maybe I have... No worries, Kenny, you're just fine. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I've just reached that age where I am getting out of touch with certain apps. I mean, I know Snapchat has some different filters than Instagram, but I guess I just don't get it. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm going to have to get up on them if I want to, understand them and, if my kids want to use them and stuff. But thankfully, I've got a good handful of years before, we have to do cell phones and worry about apps and whatnot. But, yeah, I just don't get it. Tic-Tac is all the rage with the tweens. Or not Tic-Tac. See, I'm calling it Tic-Tac. I'm thinking that it's a breath mint. It's not a phone app, it's a breath mint. No, I guess I just don't understand it. You're growing up, that's all. I know, right? Oh, gosh. All right. See, this looks lighter, but part of it is it's picking up on the glare of the light above me. So if I turn it a little bit, you're getting a little bit more of an idea of what that one is. All right, so let's do our other pink flower. Let's see, what time is it? 10:30. We still got half an hour. We're doing good. Yeah, so let's do our other pink flower, and then we can do the rest of the leaves, and then we can visualize what else we want to do, and then we can decide what we want to do for the butterfly, and then we'll do the bottom, and then the last thing we do will be the background. I don't know. Probably a big part of it is too, is I'm very, obviously, which I'm sure you all have picked up on, I'm very protective of what I put out there, social media wise, like any pictures of my kids or, any information about my kids is very specific, very, very private, only, because really I only use, I'm only friends with people on Facebook that I know in real life. I have a strict rule against, friending, thanks, Kenny, friending people that I have not met in real life, because I feel like you can read people so much better when you are face to face with them. Anyway, so I'm super particular about what I put out there. So I think part of me, I think that's part of the reason why I have a hard time understanding a lot of the other apps, because I'm just not... short of, what I tell you guys, but I also choose very specifically the details that I choose, nothing super specific, no names of places, short of, you guys all know I'm in Texas and everything, but, I'm super careful about what I put out there. So I think a lot of these apps, they're very public and there's just a lot of information out there. So I think that's why part of the reason why I have a hard time understanding all of it. You have to be protective. Exactly. Well, and my view is too, when I was a kid, computers were just starting to come out. Cell phones were a briefcase, if that. I can't even remember when those came out, but I mean, TikTok is a place for kids to create quickie videos, animates. Ah, gotcha. And so it wasn't a concern. My parents were not, we would send pictures, in the yearly Christmas card, or, we would send pictures in the mail kind of thing. But my parents were not posting loads of pictures of me for the world to see, you know? And so it's not something that I think as adults we think about too much, because there aren't, you know, the generation that I am especially, we've chosen what we put of ourselves on the internet. There wasn't somebody when we were 3 posting our first, you know, potty training segment. You know what I mean? And so I feel like, in a sense, that what I post online, if I do about my kids, it needs to be something that A, they're not going to be embarrassed for later. And B, when I was a kid, we chiseled on walls. There you go. You know, and B, I want them to almost, in a sense, to be able to decide, you know, do I want, you know, my life out there for the world to see, kind of thing, you know, because when they grow up, are they going to appreciate that I posted 60,000 pictures of their day-to-day life? You know what I mean? So I'm very specific about what I share on Facebook. It's only friends and family, people I know in real life, that kind of thing. And I feel like that when they get older and have the cognitive ability to decide what they want to share with the world, that's going to be their choice. You know what I mean? It's just everything is so online these days. I don't want to create that much of a digital footprint for my kids until they decide that they are ready. My daughter doesn't let her youngest on TikTok without supervision. Yeah, see, I don't even... I think when the kids start out with cell phones eventually, like, I think I'll start them with apps that I understand. Like, I'm not going to want them to use something that I don't understand. Like, I ended up finding out about this website called Omegle. I think Omegle, like Omegle. Hi, Shannon. Oh yeah, I read your thing and didn't even realize it was you. Hello, Shannon. And if I missed anybody else coming in, I apologize. But apparently it's just this video channel where you get randomly matched up with strangers, and the whole idea is you just video chat with strangers. Well, to me, that sounds like a great way to come across less than reputable people. And I'm just like, what is the point? Why is this website even as a thing? That just doesn't seem safe at all. I helped develop Windows at Xerox in the 70s. Really? Oh, that's cool. Oh, Facebook is like a mental world, right? mental ward. Yeah, and so there's just so much out there. And so I just want to, you know, I want to let my kids decide what gets put out there of them. And, you know, I want to be able to help them navigate the online world safely, if that makes sense. I don't even know what TikTok is. I barely know what it is. And then I'm just like, what's the point? You know, it's a time suck. There you go. The cereal. Yes. Well, you know, those boxes of cereal, they're treacherous things. You go down that aisle of the supermarket and it's just, whew, all that sugar, it's gonna get you. I'm kidding, Joanna. I know what you're talking about. I just couldn't help it because it was spelled like breakfast cereal. All right, Deco Peach. But yeah, so I'm just, I don't know. And there are those that may consider, you know, may think that I'm overprotective of them. But I figure as their mother, it's my right, you know. All right, blend that in there. We're going to do a second layer on this like we did with the other ones. I'm glad you liked it, Joanna. Then Microsoft released a version in the early 80s. That's awesome. I don't understand why people feel they have to air their dirty laundry on social media. Yeah, because I'm definitely not one for drama either. Like, you know, I talk about, you know, stories here and everything, but it's, you know, it's about kind of getting to know all of you, but I've never been one for drama. I don't enjoy it. It stresses me out. I barely enjoy watching it. Unless it's like a romantic drama. I love a good romance movie. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm private in the sense that, like I said, I don't put a ton of me out there. I mean, I do this, so, you know, it's a little bit different. I do talk about my life on here, but it's not super specific, you know? I thought I couldn't do it with my phone because I don't have 1,000 subscribers, but I downloaded apps and it worked. Oh, awesome, Bo. Facebook is your vent place. There you go. Exactly, Kim. Yeah, it is. And so as long as I'm, you know, careful about what I do. then it all works. Bo, was that test stream this morning? Because if that's the case, once it's uploaded, I can go back and watch it. Because I definitely didn't oversleep a little bit this morning, and so I didn't get my kiddo to school as early as I usually do. It's lighthearted stories. I don't need a stranger's blood type. Well, if you want to know my blood type. No, I'm kidding. Oh, you made it private? No! There we go. Okay, going over it a second time. I missed it. The elusive bow stream. Okay, well, promise me that you're gonna do it again. Let's see, I gotta make sure I have your bell on too. Oh, thanks for that thumbs up reminder there, Kimmy. I appreciate that. There we go. All right, that's that Dahlia purple. I love Dahlia purple. It is such a pretty color. Oh, well, I definitely want to see that bow. Let's see. That just still doesn't, I don't know. I suppose it's just because I've smudged some of the lines. It was just 30 seconds of one kid saying no and one actually cooperating. Oh, hilarious. All right, so pink now. Yeah, I've only had my kiddo on the live stream. Well, I mean, I've had a couple, on weekend streams, I've had them come in and say hi. But as far as extended period, I did one live stream while my son was here because it was just he didn't have school or for whatever reason. Anyway, I did one with him here, and he played with his tablet most of the time. He did pretty good. Yay! Okay, I'll have to watch it a little bit later, Bo. It's like, nope, stream over, going to Bo. See you guys later. That's Deco Peach right there. And then white. After this stream, so my friends can see my babies. Oh, yay. If you really wanted to, Bo, like if you wanted to keep it to specific people, you could always mark it unlisted and then send the link to those that you want to see it. Okay, so now let's grab, what did I use? I think Kelly Green. Let's turn this here. Apologize, I know a big part of my hand is in the screen here, but when the pencil is a nub, can't really help it because I know that the lighting goes off just a little bit when it's trying to balance it. All right, and then pink. Okay, and then we're gonna grab our Deco Peach. And we're just blending that just a tad here. There we go. Okay, then let's grab our dark green. Yeah, I need to sharpen this. Make sure it's nice and tight in the pencil extender. It's a nice thing about this tightened pencil extender is that I can still sharpen with it. Because it gets so much harder to sharpen pencil when they're that little. There we go. Okay, then we're going to grab grass green. time. And true green. Just a bit. All right, and then, so one of the things I want to mention too, if you're blending with white, thanks Kimmy. If you're blending in white, something to keep in mind, let's see if we can get to, there you go. Okay, so do you see how there is a little bit, oh, look at my cuticles, they're a mess. Anyway, you see how there's a little bit of pink on here? It's because I was blending with the white. So what you want to do is when you're using this, maybe wipe off the pencil a little bit if you're going to blend another color with white. Because if I were to put this pencil on my green right now, I would contaminate the green with the pink. So honestly, half the time, I just wipe it on my pants or whatever shirt I'm using. And now you can see it doesn't have it on here. So now I've got a clean, there we go. I've got a clean white to blend with. There we go. You know, I think manual focus is almost easier because I can, whoa, almost knocked that over, my foot. Can't even blame the cat on that one. The reason that it gets knocked is because the way that it works is the cord goes under the desk and then attaches to my tower over here. So I've got almost like a tightrope right across the underside of my desk. So when I sit with my legs crossed and then I uncross them, my foot has a tendency to hit that. Okay, all right. So now we have artichoke. Okay, and then we're gonna grab chestnut. Just a tad here. Okay. And then, let's see, we did gold for this, so gold here with our little sleechy metallic gel pen. Here we go. All right, and then we're gonna grab our purple. Here we go. Let's zoom on out a bit. There you go. Like I said, if I tilt this and I don't get that glare. That is one thing, because Prismacolors are so waxy, I get much more of a glare from my light on the Prismacolors than I do the Artezas and the Ergo Softs. Here we go. That's coming along though. All right, let's, how much time do we have? We got about 12 minutes here. We can work on this little stem and leaf also. Okay. All right, so let's grab our dark green. All right, and then grass green. There we go. And true green. Despite the fact that I stopped and talked for, you know, and told some stories and stuff, I feel like we have gotten a fair amount done today. I know there's some days, like there was that Friday, my throat was bothering me and everything. And we did a little lesson comparing, you know, Artezas to Prismacolor and Faber-Castells, but I did not get much done that evening, like at all. So on Friday, not this one. This one was that one that I did the video for. But this one here, this is what we're working on our evening streams. So this is what we'll continue working on Friday. We're using the Arteza ones. Oh, it helps too. Like, even when I'm in other people's channels, I always forget. And so when someone says it, I'm like, oh, right. Because if you're on mobile, it's not super obvious. Like, you have to close the comments to be able to go in and do a thumbs up. All right, let's see. Let's work on some leaves, okay? So let's do this. The dark green. Make sure we're in frame here. There we go. Okay, and grass green. Okay, and then true green. And then white. There we go. Oh, forgot to do this part here. There we go. All right, let's grab a little bit of our chestnut. And a little bit of our artichoke. You know, I don't actually like artichokes. Like the food. I don't know why. I can hardly keep up with my own times and dates, Joanna, so yeah, you're not alone. Sounds good, Kimmy. Thanks so much for hanging out. I'm glad you're feeling better. Aw, thanks, Kim. I'm glad. All right, so we're going to now grab Prussian green, sap green light, and gray green light. Hi, Sundance. Thanks for the lurk. All right, I'm going to give these a quick sharpen. What time is it? We got about 8 minutes still. And for anybody that's new, I end on the dot at 11 just because my kiddo only does half days at school and I have to go pick him up. No worries, Bo. My house is never that clean. I got kids. Sounds good, Kimmy. All right, so Prussian green. Today's lesson on sharpeners was great. Oh, I'm so glad, Kim. You know, thanks, Kimmy. 42 now, woohoo. I've been thinking too that I should, if the stream ends up going in a way where we end up chatting about something like that, you know, something useful, I've been thinking about like changing the title afterwards to include something like that, or like on the cover photo, which I'm behind on making the cover photos, about adding that those things are in there. Because like the stream on Friday, we didn't do a ton of coloring, but we did go over the comparisons on Prismacolor and Arteza and Faber-Castell, and I think those could be interesting tidbits, you know? Because I never know what we're going to talk about. I don't like rehearse anything or have bullet points thinking, oh, I want to chat about this today. I mean, unless there's something specific that we need to talk about. And so it just sort of, you know, it's a natural flow of conversation here, which is why I love live streams. You know, I definitely prefer these over filming and editing a video. But, I mean, those are still nice because those are definitely those that prefer it. But I love the interaction of here because then you guys can ask questions and I can go off on tangents like the pencil sharpener and everything. I mean, we did that whole color theory live stream and everything. Oh, most definitely. I never do the dishes. Oh, I say I'm kidding, but I'm really not. All right, gray-green light. Gray-green light, that kind of blends it all. Then we're going to go in with a second layer. Actually, my husband's a huge help with the dishes. He knows that I hate doing them so much. I'd rather fold an entire basket of socks than do dishes. Like, I'll take that, you know, but. Aw, thanks, Amber. Says, I absolutely love your streams. I'm a new colorist, and I'm so very glad I found your channel. Aw, thank you so much, Amber. Well, for anybody that is new, this is generally our schedule. If there's ever any changes, I post it on Facebook, the YouTube community page, and Instagram. So if you're not following the Instagram, there it is there. And then Facebook is there. Okay, so you can find any information or changes on there. And on Facebook, we have got, so I keep mentioning the color theory class. We had a class where we went over, used our color wheel and all of that. So we have some worksheets on there where you can practice your shading. I've got color, and it's all free. It's just in the files of the Facebook group. But this coincides with the live stream color theory class that we did. So this goes about shading, using contrast, using different colors to shade. So those are your color combinations. Then there's like little flowers for you to work on at the bottom. We've gone over color palettes. Like I said, the color theory stream, we used our handy dandy color wheel. We've got product reviews, book sneak peeks, all that good stuff. Yeah, like I said, all those links will help you find the stream, keep updated on the stream whenever there's changes, because I do have kids. I do tend to get sick a fair amount. And so if I ever have to cancel or anything, I will always post. At least I try to post in all three of them, because not everybody does Facebook, not everybody does Instagram, but if you're here for the YouTube, then it's updated on the community page as well. All right, so here is Chestnut. All right, there's Chestnut. And let's see, did I use artichoke? I think I did. We're going to throw in a little bit of artichoke as well. Just a tad. And then we're going to go over it again with the Prussian green. Oh, see, when my hand gets in there, it throws off the white balance of the picture. I do love my color wheel. That color wheel is so helpful. I mean, if you're ever struggling with your color choices or anything, like a color wheel, and actually if you don't have a color wheel, exclamation point color wheel, that'll give you a link to you're very respectful of our time. Aw, thanks. You can get a color wheel there on Amazon. It's only like $5-6, I think, but it's super handy for referencing and whatnot. All right, so that's Prussian green there. Now we're gonna grab our sap green light. Oh, you know what I think I used? It wasn't artichoke. I think I used the sepia. So we'll bring some of that in, because those are definitely cooler leaves than they are with the kind of warm yellow of the artichoke. So we're going to fix that. Yes, Texas Central Time. Yes. Yeah, U.S. Central Time. So I am about an hour behind East Coast time. I am 6 hours behind UK time. And I am 2 hours ahead of West Coast time. Which is why the morning streams are nice, because then those that are in the UK can make it to the streams in the morning. Because on Fridays, or unless I have to change the schedule, the stream is usually at 8:30 p.m. Because, one, I wanted to make sure that I had at least, because when I do the mornings here, it's because my kids are in school, but I wanted to make sure I had at least one morning free during the week for appointments or errands or whatever, you know, things you can only get done during the day. But if I do it in the evenings, it has to be after the kids go to bed. So we usually run from about 8:30 to 10:30. Most of the streams are about 2 hours long, unless we're really, you know, close to finishing a page or whatever else. Oh, awesome, Joanna. Okay. Let's see, are we in focus here? Yeah, that's pretty good. And also, I know it's a way off, but I was looking at my sub count, and I'm at, oh, excuse me, 8,220. Plus, we are closing in on 1,000 people. Was it 1,000? What are we at? Was it 1,000 or 500? There's a milestone number that we're getting ready for in our Facebook group. Let's see. Let's take a look here. Emily, illustrator, coloring. Gotta go. Important appointment. Thanks for warning. That sounds good, Kim. Thanks so much for being here. Okay, so we're at 652. Sorry, we're not closing 1,000. So we're closing in on 700. So we've got, you know, about 350 to go for our coloring group. And I've still got, you know, about 1,800 to go till I hit 10,000 on YouTube. And then I think Instagram was the one that we were getting close. The reason I'm saying this, let's see, what are we on Instagram? Okay, so we've only got about 1,200 to go. So depending on which one gets first, whether or not I hit 10,000 on Instagram or 10,000 on YouTube or 1,000 on the Facebook group, whichever one of those hits first, I was thinking that we would do some sort of giveaway. I haven't decided what it is yet. I'm leaning more towards maybe a book or a small set of pencils. I also thought about the possibility of giving away one of the pages that we finished. Because international shipping becomes slightly more complicated, which is why maybe a page, because the shipping wouldn't be exponential. But I can order things from like Amazon UK or Amazon Germany, or, you know, Amazon's very handy that way. They've got, you know, locations all over the place. So that's something to maybe think about once we start closing in on those numbers a little bit. So either 10K on YouTube or 10K on Instagram. 10K on Instagram I'm really excited about because we'll get that swipe up feature, which will make it so much easier to make it to the YouTube when we are live. So yeah, 10K on Instagram, 10K on YouTube, or 1,000 in the coloring group. Right, Kimmy? Yeah, because Laura does that. I just wasn't sure if anybody would want them. Anyway, so that is something I'm definitely thinking about doing. So here, let's zoom out a little bit so we can see the whole page, because we are definitely going to wrap it up here because it is 11. So I've got to go here in a moment. There we go. I think that's in focus. Anyway, all right, well, we got another leaf done here. We got 3 of the yellow flowers. We finished up the other 2 pink flowers. We finished the stems, and we did the butterfly. Not bad for 2 hours. So on that note, I'm going to leave it because I got to go get my kiddo. But yeah, the giveaway is something to think about. I know we got a little bit of time before we reach those numbers, but I was just looking at them the other day, and I was just like, we are closing in here. A giveaway might be kind of fun. Snowy Seattle. You guys have snow in Seattle? Oh my goodness. And hello, Julie. All right, so I'm going to head out. Yes, everyone would. Oh, thanks, Kimmy. But we are going to be live next, like I said, Friday night, 8:30 p.m. Let's see, is that, it still doesn't look in focus. That looks a little better. 8:30 p.m. Central Time, okay? We are going to be using Arteza color pencils. We're going to be continuing this page here. We do something different for the morning and for evening because not everybody can be at both, okay? All right, everyone, have a lovely, lovely, lovely rest of your Wednesday. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you weren't here, it would be incredibly boring. So you guys make the streams what they are. So thank you so much for being here. And I will see you all on Friday, 8:30 p.m. Central Time. All right, everyone, have a great day. Bye.